Well, we've looked at the training of the police motorcyclists. We've seen the bikes, the way they're prepared for the road and the way they're maintained. Once they've done all that, the police training, they then finish up on a bike wing. This is number 2 bike wing of Greater Manchester Police. Now, Wayne should have been here today because I've arranged something very special for Wayne today, but he's let me down again.
Calm down.
Oh, is it? Hang on. Hello. What are you doing?
What are you doing? I can't believe it. You said you want a behind-the-scenes jobby on the police station and that. I've had myself nicked this morning.
No, not quite that much behind the scenes.
Calm down, keep quiet.
It's killing me.
I'll see you later, eh?
Never mind, see
Come
me
on,
later.
this way.
Get me sorted. Get me out of this spot. Move it.
Oh dear. Well, there you go. Very painful that look. That's the resident ninja here. This, as I said, is the real world of police motorcycling. Today we're going to look at the bikes, talk to the people who ride them and look at some of the jobs that they get asked to do. And this is Sergeant Joe Hine. Joe, you know everything about these bikes, so I'm told. What have we got here? We seem to have an array of various different models here, so what are we looking at first?
This is where we're starting. 5 years ago, this was the patrol bike that we had on Greater Manchester Police. It's an old R100, 1000cc twin, air-cooled. Right. The electrics nowadays are just not up to it. We've only 2 of these left.
Yeah, getting a bit long in the tooth now, this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't do the job anymore. So it's basically the electrics let it down.
Right, so from there, where did we go after that? What was the next bike?
Next one was this. This is a K100, flat 4, 1000cc, 8 valve, water cooled. It was ideal when we first bought it, and we bought these just when they were finishing the range. Mm-hmm. So we've only got about, here, we've got about 5 of these left in this garage.
Right. And there's more yet. There's all sorts of things here. What's this?
This
Another
is
BMW.
This is the current patrol bike of the Greater Manchester Police. The vast majority of our bikes are this model. This is a K1100, 1100cc, flat 4, 16 valves, fuel injection, state of the art.
All singing, all dancing. Electric screen.
Yeah, it's got the electric screen, which is for driver comfort and obviously for use in all sorts of different weathers. Yeah. You can adjust it yourselves on the handlebars. It's quite simple to do. Right. Heated grips.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've got the ventilated discs. It's a superb patrol bike.
Right, so that's the current bike, but that is about to change, or it's going to change in the future, isn't it?
BMW tell us in the near future they're going to start making this model.
Right, so where do we go from there?
Well, here we are. With these 2 bikes, which are currently we're testing head to head. We've got the Honda Pan-European V4, 1100, water cooled, and the new BMW, which is the new R1100.
Right, so someone's going to make a decision whether one of these bikes is going to become the bike for Greater Manchester Police, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we've got it. Each wing we'll have them for a month, and they'll rotate. Both manufacturers said we can test them to destruction. Oh, right. At the end of the test, there'll be a private vote amongst the officers on the motorcycle wings, and the majority win. It's that simple.
All right. So you get to say what bike you're going to ride. Well, the majority?
So. Yeah.
Right, smashing.
Yeah.
Right, well, let's go back to the current patrol bike and let's just see how different it is from the bike that we might go and see in a showroom.
Yeah, that's fine, not a problem.
Right, Joe, this is the current patrol bike, the K1100.
Right.
This is it seems to have everything on it. So, I mean, starting at the front, I mean, apart from the blue lights and the stripes on the side, you seem to have a fair bit of gadgetry on here. What's all this about?
Well, if you start at the top, these are obviously the controls for the emergency equipment. Those are the blue lights, you've red rear flashes, flashing headlamp. Mm-hmm. This little object here is an SPDM, which is like VASCAR. It actually measures distance and time and gives average speed of vehicles. Right. You've seen the little white squares in the road.
I was going to ask you about them. I've seen them lots of times and never really know what they're for.
Well, that's what they are. We know the distance between those 2 squares, and you can feed them into the machine. This one's got an already fed into it, that's 0.22 of a mile, just over 2/10 of a mile. There's a certain spot in Lee where the squares are that distance apart.
You won't tell me where it is, will you?
No. That's my favourite spot.
Go on then. Right.
And all you have to do, once you know the distance, is time the vehicle over that distance. Yeah. You can either do it with the machine itself, if I'm stood by the side of the bike, operate it with the blue button, which all that's doing now is putting the time into the machine. It knows the distance, it knows the time. If you stop it, I mean, that would be a good one, that.
6 seconds to do that, yeah.
106 miles an hour.
I wouldn't be stood here now, would I?
But if I'm riding the machine, the controls are duplicated on the handlebars. Yeah. I've got the distance on one side and the time on the other, so I can operate them whilst riding the machine. Yeah. You can check the speed of vehicles following behind you, opposite direction, or park up with fixed distances. And unlike the radar and the laser, it's not affected by any of these new detection gadgets. It's purely mechanical.
Very, very, very clever. Right. The actual speedo on the bike, that's calibrated as well, isn't it? That's
It is.
Got a certificate.
That's some of the machines don't have these fitted. They then use the certificate, which is this a calibrated speedometer, which has to be tested with a certified stopwatch as well to prove that it's accurate, and that would be a following check.
Yeah. Right, coming down from there onto the inside of the fairing, this is the, what's this, police radio?
That's the police radio. It's the new clear tone. You have a choice. You have the UHF, which is the local radio channel for the local police, and the VHF, which is our force-wide radio channel. So I can listen to both. I've got speakers inside the crash helmet. I can listen to one on each speaker, or I can just listen to one at a time. And it's just so that I can be in contact with the local police as well as with the force control room.
Right. What about when you leave your bike? I mean, you're plugged into. You've got your headset plugged in.
Yeah.
Can you walk away? I mean, are you out of touch?
When you walk away, you've got a personal radio, which is the same thing that you see with the beat bobbies.
Yeah.
You can then put this on a repeat mode, and I can actually use the personal radio to go through that radio and speak to either the control room or to the local police again.
Right. So you're never out of touch.
No, it's a safety aspect. That.
Excellent. Right. Moving further down. I mean, an obvious thing with a police bike, you don't have a dual seat. The seats chopped off because of
That's
this.
Single seat.
So what's in here?
This is the actual radio box.
This is
the control panel.
Right.
This is the actual box, the actual radio set itself.
This is the brains for the radio.
That's
right.
correct.
Right. And your various bits and pieces. Panniers. I mean, what do we carry in here? So you do a fire extinguisher down here.
Yeah. In here there'll be there's a first aid box, waterproofs. I've got here the handcuffs, my baton.
Oh, your baton. All right.
Personal protection.
All right. So you don't carry that on your bike, do you not? I mean,
it's personal choice. You'll see some officers have them on the belt.
Yeah.
The problem with that is if you come off, it can do you some damage.
Yeah,
so you've got to weigh up. Are you more likely to be assaulted, or are you more likely to come off your bike? And it's on a Friday night. I might choose to wear that on my belt.
The farmer. Yeah. Okay. Another pannier there. Anything in that one?
This side. This is the Old Faithful map book.
Yeah.
This is the ticket folder.
I've seen one of them before, John.
It's made specially for the police. Each officer's individually issued. That's the HURT1 pad, or the form you get when you have to produce your documents.
Yes, I've seen them. Yeah.
That's your endorsable fixed penalties for speeding, going through traffic lights.
Never seen one of them. No.
These are the parking tickets.
Yes, I've seen them.
Failing to wear seatbelts, etc.
Right.
That's what they're for.
Smashing.
And the other side is just provision for pocketbook and that sort of thing.
Right. And this particular bike that we're playing with here, this is your bike, isn't it?
This is my machine, yeah.
So I mean, the officers have their own bikes. It's not just, you don't just come in here and say, I'll take this one today and.
It's a personal fit. This is a special escort group bike as well. So the duties we're expected to perform and the speeds you're expected to perform, you want it set up for yourself.
Yeah.
Tyre pressures, the height of the pegs, your brake pedal settings. It's all got to be personalised so that when you get on that bike, you can ride it to 100%.
Yeah.
And you can't do that if you have to ride someone else's bike.
Yeah, it's very true. So when this goes for a service, it goes into a workshop, do you personally get a choice of the tyres that you're going to put on it and things like that?
We have sort of a choice of 3, and you can put on the tyres that you personally prefer.
Right, excellent. So it's a very individual thing, is the police motorcycle?
Well, it needs to be. If you think the speeds it travels at, the weight of the bike and the duties you have to perform, it's got to be right.
Of course. Well, I've just come up to the office now, hoping to cadge a brew, but as luck would have it, some of the lads have just been called out to escort a wide load. So let's go and see what they're getting up to.
Bravo 1318 CK.
1318, go ahead.
Abnormal load complete, safe on the motorway. Would you show me resuming state 0, please?
Yes, will do, thank you.
Well, there you go, another successful job complete. Steve, is that it now? You've radioed in there what to say that you've done what you were asked?
Yes, that's to tell them that the load is now safe on the motorway under its own steam, and we are now available for any jobs.
So state zero means you're free and...
We're free and available to cover anything that comes up, general patrol, etc.
Right. I mean, we saw you there stopping the traffic lights. You had some roadworks to negotiate. I mean, what's the biggest problems you come across with these wine loads?
The biggest problems are motorists that are coming towards and not understanding what we want them to do, where to go. They just won't move over. We direct them to move them over for their own safety, so they're not going to cause an accident or get injured by the load, but they just seem to freeze and they stop there. Right. So we physically sometimes have to point to them, move over, move out of the way.
I don't want to detain you any longer from your duty.
Just hang on a minute, please. I'm just getting something coming through at the moment. Yep, Bravo 1318. You show me state 1 to that job, please. Responding.
Oh, it's all happening.
Hi and welcome to Two Wheels Better. Grey bikes, you've heard all about them, but perhaps not as much as I'm going to tell you about them. But these bikes here are anything but grey, multicoloured and multi-variety. At the end of this little row here, we've got a Yamaha Cero, a nice little trail bike, 225cc. It's even got electric start, would you believe? Next to it, a ZXR Kawasaki. You might think it's a 750, but it's not. It's a 400, complete with upside-down forks. The old favourite, you're thinking, GSXR 1100 Suzuki. No, it's not. It's a 400. CBR Fireblade, you're thinking. No, it's not. It's another 400. And look at this pretty little bike here. A VFR Honda, but not a 750. It's a V4, all right. Single-sided swinging arm, but again, it's a 400. And the one at the end looks like a big retro CB1 Honda. Well, that's not. It's a 400. It is a Honda, and it is 4-cylinder, but 400cc. So this is a complete range. Well, not a complete range, that's wrong to say. This is a range, a sample of grey bikes, the sort of thing that you can get. Well, I have with me Perry Power of Power Slide Bikes in Swadlincote, Derbyshire. He's the owner of these lovely machines and plenty more. Perry, thanks very much for letting me have a go on these. I really enjoyed myself on these. And you've got even more in the shop.
We certainly do.
How many do you normally carry?
About 50.
That's a fair few, isn't it?
Some shops bigger, some are smaller, but we find 50 is about the right amount. Turns over quickly that way.
Now, I've noticed in the shop there, most of them seem to be sports bike. Are they the most popular?
Yeah, the sports bikes still are the most popular. The retros, a little less popular, and then finally the cruiser type bikes, probably still the least popular in this country.
Mm-hmm. So they're still the sports nuts. Now, I see you got a grey bike there. I had a look at that earlier. I mean, they list loads of bikes. I haven't counted them up. How many bikes are available?
There's about 60 to 70 different models that are available from the Japanese market that we can't get actually in the country officially, that were brought in.
So hence the grey bike phrasing, as it were, for them. Is it grey because it's neither black or white, I presume?
Well, no, it's the grey really is a term used to represent a non-official import. We have the official market, the parallel market, which you've heard on, and the direct import market, which is generally referred to as the grey import market.
So how long have you been in the market then with these grey bikes?
Power Slide's been going since 1989 now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you're pretty well experienced in these, and you were a founder member, because there is a trade association, isn't there?
Power Slide Bikes was one of the founding members of the British Independent Motorcycle Importers Association.
Quite a mouthful.
A bit of a mouthful, that one, the BIMIA, yes.
Yes.
When the bikes were first being brought in, it was clear to those of us that were importing them that we needed some way to convince the buyers, the insurance industry, that there was support behind these products. And we really took it on ourselves to create a level of a support network, so to speak, of parts backup, insurance quotes, etc. for them.
Now, the secret of the small capacity bikes, I mean, 400 they seem to sort of top out at in the main. I know there's 250s as well. But tell us a bit, these all come from Japan, don't they?
That's right.
Yeah. So is it a licensing regulation over there? Is that why 400s are so many about?
That's right. Traditionally, the Japanese markets had a three-tier licensing scheme. 125s, up to 400 and over 400. To get a license for over 400 cc's has been extremely difficult historically. They had some unusual requirements, such as being able to put your bike down on the ground and pick it back up.
Really?
Which if you're a 5'2" Japanese person trying to pick up a 750, it became sort of an instant fail.
Yeah.
Those licensing laws actually will be changing this month. They're becoming more liberal, as we're in fact becoming more stringent on our licensing. So we will see probably a changing pattern.
And we think we've got a strict MOT, or sometimes people talk about the MOT being strict, but I understand it's even worse, or whichever way you look at it, perhaps better in Japan.
Right. In Japan they have the equivalent to our MOT. It's called the Tanken. You're required to put your bike through it after 3 years, or any vehicle. The difference is it takes a lot more persistence and a lot more money. Rather than paying 10 or 12 pounds here for your first attempt at a test, you pay about 635 pounds for your first attempt at an
That's
MOT.
a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. And it creates a reason for people not to hang on to used bikes, even if they're low mileage and high quality.
And I suppose the other thing, they're very style conscious, aren't they, the Japanese? So they always want to be up with the latest.
Yes, the Japanese models change virtually every year. There's cosmetic changes that occur, and in a way it's almost a planned obsolescence that we expect from the Japanese market, where the fashion changes and the severity of their MOT means that after 3 years a bike is disposed of.
Yeah. And tell me an interesting thing. I mean, I've been out on these bikes, as I said, there's some cracking bikes. Just why aren't they available from mainstream dealers, from Kawasaki, Yamaha or whatever?
Well, it stems back to the days when the motorcycle market started going through a slump. The official dealers found themselves overwhelmed with the number of models from each of the dealers. It was not unusual that a dealer would have 3 or even 4 franchises. Trying to keep up with the models, the support behind the models, the ever-changing models, just became too much during the slump period. So they got together, spoke to the official importers and said, we need to cut the model range. They chose the 125s, the 600s, the 750s and above, and really dropped the sort of 250 through 500 cc range to a large extent. I mean, there was some off-road bikes that came in that capacity, some odd retro bikes like the CBXs that came in those capacities that they maintain, but generally they dropped the entire 250 and 400 range from the market.
These bikes, they might have small engines, but everything else, all the running gear, seems to be up to the big bike standard, brakes and suspension.
Absolutely. Majority of the components are completely interchangeable with official models. That's one of the reasons the parts backup now is so easy to do.
Yeah, and it must make them reliable as well as a bike. You get a big bike feel, big bike, all the sort of running gear of them, but you just haven't got the extra weight.
Yeah, you find that what you give up in horsepower you gain in handling and braking because of the lighter chassis that you're dealing with.
That was one thing I was going to say. They are limited, aren't they, in Japan to top speed?
That's right. They have a speed restriction that's applied to all Japanese motorcycles of 180 kilometers an hour, about 112 miles per hour for us, yes.
Yeah. And so the setup is, do you leave them restricted, or you can de-restrict them if people want to?
Yeah, as a standard, we don't de-restrict them until customers ask to have them de-restricted. De-restriction is very straightforward. Usually just involves removing a brass sensor plate from the speedometer.
Yeah. Simple as that?
As simple as that. Some of them slightly more complicated. An electronic box, the little black box, is required. But the price of doing it ranges from about 5p to £100, depending upon the model you have.
Yes. Oh, well, the 5p, that's very, very cheap, that is. Very simple mod. And tell me, what about warranties? Obviously, you don't actually get, I'll say, a Honda warranty or whatever, but what do you offer people?
We offer a 2-year warranty that's equivalent to a new vehicle policy. We've negotiated with one of the underwriters in the country and have come up with a policy that really would meet the equivalent to what you would get if you bought a brand new motorcycle.
So people needn't worry at all about grey imports. They're solid bikes. They're in excellent condition. I mean, the CB 400 is brand new, isn't it? That one is. But even the second-hand ones, the used ones, are in excellent condition.
Again, in the Japanese market, the bikes aren't used in the winter. Their winters are very severe. They don't travel long distances, so it's not unusual to get a 3 or 4-year-old bike with 5,000 miles on it in absolutely spotless condition.
Yeah. Well, as I've seen from these. Okay, Perry, well, thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Chef.
Well, I've got with me here Steve. You might have seen him in some of the shots on the road. Steve's the mechanic at Power Slide, and he's sitting on his own favourite, or I think it is. Steve, which is your favourite? Is it the VFR?
The VFR, the Honda.
Well, why is that in particular?
V4 engine. I think it's got nice power delivery, nice torque, and very smooth to ride.
Because you're a bit of a racer, aren't you? You've got a Ducati of your own, haven't you?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that one.
It's the 750 SS. It's not quite standard. It's done in Michael Rutter's race colours, the McCulloch race colours. Beefed up swinging arm. It's had a bit of work done at the motor.
So quite a few changes. So you're an Italian man, or you've ended up with one. But you've got a whole range of bikes here. You said your favourite is the VFR. For people in general, there really is no problem with these, are there? They're well-sorted engines. There's nothing strange about them. It's just that they're fairly rare on our roads.
Yeah, they're beautiful motors. Plenty of power, no problems. I don't have any major troubles with them at all.
And some of the revs that these get to, I mean, what are the peak revs? You were telling me earlier, one of them, was it sort of 18,000 or whatever?
Yeah, the 250 CBR, 18,000 RPM.
And they're reliable at that, aren't they?
Yeah, very reliable.
OK then, Steve. Well, thanks for all your help today anyway. We couldn't have done it without you, so it was good having you along.
OK, thank you.
Well, that's about it. I'm sitting on my favourite here, the CBR, the Mini Fireblade. It might look a bit small for me, but it doesn't feel it, and the power delivery is absolutely superb. And I really have been thoroughly impressed by this bike, but I'm not surprised to find that in fact it is the top-selling 400, I was just going to say superbike. Well, it is a superbike to me, but as a grey import, it is the top-selling bike.
Don't forget that the Men and Motors channel on Sunday, April the 20th presents a bike night, as well as a packed edition of Two Wheels Better at 11 as usual. The best of bikes at 11:30 will feature rides on a wide selection of bikes on sale today. And at midnight, Biker Heaven will be a special show where we'll join thousands of bike enthusiasts at one of the most popular UK bike meets. And we'll have amazing footage of thrills, spills and superbike footage. Then Raw at 1 continues the bike theme. Bike night on Sunday, April the 20th on the Men and Motors channel.